and they don't make peace with it. And when the light is on and it's time to perform, they crumble. You see that very often in combat sport. Guys that are very good in the gym, but then when it's time to go, they don't perform as well. You're like, what's going on, you know? That's why, because they don't know how to they don't know how to domesticate their fear.
They don't know how to, they don't know how to manage their fear.
They don't know how to manage it. They don't know how to control their stress. I remember, I think it's Kasamoto, the Mike Tyson coach. He says, fear is like fire. It can help you cook your food, but it can also burn you if you don't know how to control it. You know, and one of my psychologists sport psychologists used to say to me, he's like, you have butterflies, you have to make them fly in formation. That's one thing he used to tell me all the time. I'm like, that was a good analogy.
That's crazy,
And I'm sure for you, the same thing. I mean, when you do a show, I mean, I don't know. Are you afraid to mess up and being humiliated? Did it ever happen to you that?
Oh, for sure.
Like you screwed up. You're like, shit, this thing doesn't work the way I want. And I mean, I'm sure it happened. Like it happened to me. I get hit, or you know what I mean. I lose a fight.
Yeah, it wasn't my plan and my strat. Yeah, I ran out of bullets. I ran out of like moves. I tried some jokes. It didn't work. Oh, the beginning, you almost go out there because you just want. I think. You know it's gonna fucking hurt, you know? And you just wanna, I think a lot of comics kind of hate themselves a little bit, to be honest. And so they go out there because they know the feeling that the pain, the embarrassment and pain they're gonna feel, finally it'll match how they feel on the inside. So there's a little weirdness in that like some things are gonna feel a little even in a way. And also a lot of comedians hate themselves so much that the people could never hate them as much as they fucking hate themselves. So, or they've talked so badly about themselves, like in their own head, you know?
You mean you need to be willing to make fun of yourself if you want to do
yeah,
that,
I think
right?
that helps because then certainly at that point, it's like you're using all the tools. You
make fun of others, but you need to be ready to make fun of yourself as well, right? Yeah.
And in your head, like I think a lot of comedians are like, you know, they have a lot of fear. They have a lot of inferiority. And so when they're growing up, they probably talk badly to themselves in their head. And so then when they're able to joke about themselves, it's almost a way of releasing some of that. It's like they're making fun of themselves, but it's in a way that is bringing joy to people.
Yeah.
So it almost kind of like alleviates some of that, if that makes any sense.
Over the year, did that feeling of...
It goes away.
It goes away for you, yeah?
Yeah.
That was my...
It goes away because
it didn't go away from me.
Really?
Yeah, it got worse because every fight is bigger than that.
But just the fight. So the fight itself. So the training and all of that.
Training makes me I'm nervous before training because when you train for a fight, you want to perform. When you're in between fight, off season, now you want to have fun. Yeah. That's when training is fun. But when you're training for a fight, it's about performance. It's not that fun. It's not fun. Winning is fun, but you know, like one of the
fight day would be tough.
I'm sorry?
The fight day would be the toughest?
It's terrible. Well, to give you an example, fight day, every fight day is the worst day of my life. You wake up after a shitty night of sleep. And when you wake up, you're like, because you don't sleep well because I make so much scenario in my mind. If you do this, I'm gonna do this, and try to cover every possible scenario that can happen. And sometimes you close your eyes, you try to be positive, but sometimes you don't see yourself winning. Sometimes there's certain imagery that pops up in your head that you see yourself losing. But I develop a trick. I'm a firm believer of the power of thinking, you know, of the power of the mind.
Visualization?
Yes. So when you have a negative imagery that pops up in your head, it's a sign of intelligence. You know, it's normal. It will happen. Because you're smart, you can foresee certain bad outcome. So you need to be prepared. So it forces you to. You don't want to finish your visualization on a negative note because it would leave a scar up here. So I always force myself when I see myself getting dropped by a punch. Then I don't let go. I just force myself. Okay, I'm gonna scramble back up and get back in control of the fight, and then I can go on with my life, do whatever I need to do. So I think if you only finish on the negative, it could leave a scar. That's
Wow.
one of the things that over the year I tried to do, and it helped me a lot.
It's powerful. It reminds me of the fight, the first Serra fight, I think, you
Yes.
know, and I know you didn't get the outcome that you wanted, but you stayed alive. I mean, you know, that was
Yeah, I got hit so many times.
I was like, geez, I felt like we were getting hit at home. I remember.
And Matt Serra really surprised me because going into that fight, it was my first title defense. Matt Serra was known for his grappling prowess. You know, he was a very one of the most decorated jiu-jitsu athlete at the
Hands on
time.
him.
And I was more worried about his ground game than his stand-up. But he worked a lot on his stand-up game, and he cut me with a punch that I never saw coming on behind the ear. And when he cut me, I remember I got emotional because I wanted to give it back to him right away. You know, like this was not supposed to happen. The odds were favoring me like something like 10-1 or something crazy. So I wanted to give it back to him right away. And like an idiot, I fall into a slugfest. And when you're stunned, you're not accurate because you're dizzy. He was accurate and he hits very hard. So I got like I can't remember how many punches I got
you
hit
stayed
with.
alive though.
Oh, but you know what I did? So because I didn't know where I was so dizzy, I tapped out. And I got a lot of critics because, he's a quitter. He tapped out on strike and everything. And it affected me at the time because I was like, man, you know, like maybe I'm not as good as I think. And a lot of people were like, oh, he's maybe not as good as people think. And I needed to build myself mentally from that. And it was very, very hard because I lost the confidence. And confidence for a fighter is the most important thing because you can have all the skills in the world. But if you don't have the confidence, if I can make an analogy, it's like someone who has a lot of money in his bank account, but no way of accessing it. So I needed to build myself back up, and it was a tough time. I remember.
It's funny you see it that way because I saw it as, wow, I cannot believe how. I think it for me it goes back to what you were saying, that like like if you visualize yourself getting hit, to then finish on a visualization of yourself, you know, returning back to form and like still being in the bout, because that's what it seemed like to me. I mean, I know he got the victory on that one, but
I tapped out on strike, and I'm not ashamed to say it. A lot of guys that will say, because there's this thing in our sport that, oh, you tapped out on strike, you quit. But man, it's a sport. We're not in a war, and I rather save myself for another day. All right.
Well, you always seem like that guy. You always seem like this. You're always a perfect strategist.
I'm never gonna give up until it's finished. But that fight was finished. I was gone. It was a matter of time that I was probably gonna fall unconscious. So I decided to tap and to save some of my brain cells.
Yeah.
And come back another day. And
you did.
And I think there's no shame about it. When that happened at the time, I was ashamed a little bit, and I didn't want to talk about it, but you know, I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I did it. Yeah.
Well, I think it's easier probably to look back in the past and see the long, you know, to see the whole, like all the work, you know, to see it as a whole, as like a whole piece there. Yeah. What was kind of one of the toughest times you felt like in your career? Was that probably it, you think? Because you had just gotten the title. It's your first title defense. That was bad mentally. The first loss before that, I lost to Matt Hughes. Matt Hughes, yeah.
It was more of a learning experience. This was different because it really brought my confidence down. And I remember at the time I had a sports psychologist. He's awesome. I shout out to Brian Kane. And
Brian or Ryan?
Brian Kane. He was amazing. And
and he's deceased?
No. He's still around.
Good.
He works with pro athlete, and he says to me, because after the fight, I immediately the only thing I was thinking about is to get back out there and get my revenge, you know, because I was not proud of my performance. I was like, man, I'm better than this. I'm better than this guy. I want to go back out there and show the world. And you know, my ego wanted to show the world that I'm better than this, but the fight that I had was not against Serra. My other fight, I needed to build, like, to win, have a few more wins before I to return for a title shot. So I was not focusing on the right thing. I was focusing on Matt Serra instead of focusing on my next opponent, and that could have been very bad.
Wow.
So what my sports psychologist did to me, he said, said, George, you're carrying a lot of brick. And I didn't know what it meant at the time. So he made me carry a brick. And he made me write the name of Serra with clay on it. And he made me carry that brick in my training bag. And every day I was going to train with that freaking brick. And in TriStar, you have to go up the stairs, and it's it's not a pleasant walk to go to the gym. It's kind of a training of itself. And at one point, like after a week, I called him. I'm like, hey, can I get rid of that brick? He's like, no, you keep it. You keep it. I'm like, man, this guy is completely insane. You know, like he was, you know, I thought that he was crazy. He probably needed a psychologist himself. So I kept carrying the brick, and the week before my fight with I think it was Josh Koscheck, that I was trying to get back to a title shot. I was like, man, I can't deal with this shit anymore. Can I throw that brick out? He's like, okay, I'm coming. Wait. So I went to where the Saint Laurent River is. I grab it, and I throw it in the water. And I know it sounds cuckoo to say, but it was something physical that I did that had a profound change